Hi guys, I want to make this video a little bit uh private, but there's a celebration with firework going on, and yeah, there's a firework going on. But I want to show you a way where you can get yourself a visa on US, because there is like couple of events coming up, and you know, ICE agent are not friendly. That's what I've been seeing, and yeah, kind of. Let me open up my alternate Google Chrome real quick. This is a directory for Singaporean only, but if you're planning to go to the US for like voluntarily doing something about it, then yeah, you can go ahead and try my method. But there is another method where you have to go to the embassy. But this is the alternate method that they refer. Let me see if I can get things out real quick. Window capture. Nope, this is not it. This is it. So my method number one will be going through the embassy website. That's one way to figure it out. And this is the official website of the US Embassy in Singapore. When you go to this official website, you need to read the cautious about this. This is when US is currently a war zone with Middle East that is happening now. But when you go to the website, there is like I need, and then there is a US visa. There's a emergency assistant to study in the US. The study in the US is a different procedure, but let's say you're invited down to Call of Duty Activision open beta testing and everything. You would need a visa. But no, this one part where the immigration will literally shoot application to for US non-immigrant visa should schedule the visa interview appointment at the US embassy. So that's one. And then there is like information, like what kind of thing that you need. Visa application information. There is quite a few phone numbers as well for you to call. And this is the visa type. There is things to take note here is there is visa type for tourist and visit, study and exchange, business, immigrate when you want to officially move to the US. I will go through one by one, but let's say I think for Call of Duty player, Call of Duty that invited, they have to go through this one, travels.state.gov. And there is quite a few like visa overview, like what you need. And you have to go all the way down to in the United States. There's an external link, and this is plan a trip. So once you got in, you will get to this AI protocol and create a trip. You need to fill up this declaration form that is listed here with the Liberty stat. And thought that you have to know that you have to click on round trip when you come back, and timing like when you're going to go, and select date. Whenever Call of Duty activate beta version or whatever, they would require you to fill up the immigration counter. But this is just the one way. Let's say I don't want to go through this, and this website is quite old, to be honest. No offense. Then the other one is how to apply. There's also a visa fee that you need to pay. Uh, Other requirement documentation is this thing. Passport valid for travel. Your passport must be valid for at least 6 months and priority of stay in the United States unless employed for country specific agreement. They are very, very, very up to date when it comes to ICE agent. And this is like additional payment. Non-immigrant visa application must fill out the form of DS-160 confirmation page. And then application for payment received if you're required to pay before your interview. And then there's a photo that you need to take a photo inside the US embassy when you're going to go to the Call of Duty event. You will need to write in a request. And keep note on this requirement, the purpose of your trip, your intent of departure of United States after your trip, and or your ability to pay all costs of the trip. And keep note, Singapore passport have a 90 days like entry requirement where you can go to the US as a tourist without a visa, but a valid choice is go through the program, like go to the visa program for a safer bet. If you're going to the US and you don't know how to apply for it, you need to go through the approval. Visa waiver program, most citizens participating in See note below. Okay, this is definitely the one that I'm talking about. The visa waiver program is under WP. This is under uh US law. This is quite a few national. And this is what you probably will need to is passport requirement. That's one. Digital photography. Number two. And country of origin. You need to be stated as Singapore or whatever country that you have a valid ID. And then there's also a machine readable passport. So that's the requirement. And of course, there is a submit button if you want. And this is Homeland Security. So the next one would be another US visa. Let's say you want to go to the US and study. This will be criteria, and you will need this overview, how to apply. Student visa overview must be university or college, high school, private, elementary school. You need the following visa category F and M. M is for vocational or other registration. This is training program, so M is not valid for certain user. Only certain user you will receive the M for this, and then there's a student cannot travel on the visa waiver program or visitor visa. There we go. Student program or student exchange program, there is a catch. You need to apply for a valid visa to go to study in the US, and you need to fill out the form, and you need to tell them what you're studying, and requirement a lot of process processing of this document will take about maybe 1 to 2 months, give or take. But alternative, you can apply through this website, and then this is the website providing consulate service and specific of a area. For example, all these have a US embassy. Singapore is of course on the sixth, and that's the one that I came from. Student visa is $185. Wait a minute. Border crossing card fee is $185. Border crossing card under age 15. This is not valid anymore. This is only people that have only intention to go with their child. And then there's also another fee called $500 if you want to. This is Visa prevention and detection fee for visa application included in blanket petition. I kind of see this amount is quite outrageous. 4,500 to go to the US. And this is the one that you need to retrieve back is 675 for immigration protection and relative. For relative and often 775, that's one. 180 for the US study. That is only if you're willing to go to the US and study and stay there more than 6 months, and you have to go through the website and Babel, that kind of stuff. And then there is another alert for US citizen education and exchange opportunity. This one is only available for the USA student that want to reside and study in the Singapore. They go through the international school and they have to go through forms. This is the education visit and speaker request form. This is for student. For event, personally event, I would say travel visa and travel. If you're not travel ban and your country is in the waiver program, you can literally utilize the 90 days to go to the US. That is in between. And I just want to give you a little bit of disagreement here. I know most probably people already applied weeks ago or applied last minute, and they want to get into the US without getting confiscated or being interrogated by the ICE agent. The only way you can go through is this official website. And then Call of Duty site, you need to contact Activision for help because they are the organizer. You need to alert them that you're coming from outside country and what kind of visa would they need to require you to go to the US. That's the logical gate. That's the one-way procedure. And I want to bring you a tad of bad news. Last year, when Call of Duty Black Ops 7, some Canadian people actually want to go to the US for Call of Duty event, but due to certain agreement law, the US embassy don't allow you to personally come in. So when the US ICE agent stopped them and asked them what's the purpose of coming to the US, and they mentioned Call of Duty playtest or doing other things with Call of Duty related, ICE agent wasn't assuring or wasn't aware that this event is going to be global and is going to be exclusive to the person that actually bought Call of Duty valid copy of Call of Duty, and in point of view, that person went to the Canadian border and go through the U.S. embassy or U.S. immigration. They tell that kind of event, and they are not aware of, and they say that, oh, this person is not allowed to go across the border. So he was forced to return, and then the person called like Call of Duty headquarter activation to beg for help. And Call of Duty response was quite old fashioned. I won't say they are 100% on it, but sometimes when immigration is not aware of the event or not fully alert or something went wrong with the procedure, people get detained or ask questions. But if the question is valid, like for example, the person that went from the US border to go to Call of Duty event have a face of a declaration issue and was turned away from the Canada border to go back to Canada. So partly is Call of Duty never contact the immigration people, so they are not aware of that situation. I hoping that's the case, but sometimes U.S. embassy they are aware. For my case, I need to go through U.S. embassy website and request for travel or something, and then you have to go through the procedure, and then weeks before and after that, please also ensure you have a printed copy of Call of Duty permit. Like Call of Duty want you to be in that event, please have a paper of like attendee, and you need to know where to go for event. And when your departure date, what kind of hotel you're going, you need to fill out the form accordingly, and then you get out after the event and after the intended date that you need to get in. And how do I know this? I went through the whole process before. Like the requirement is crazy, and I think it's not valid for certain user, but it's always good. Give me 2 minutes. I need to find resource real quick. And I'm back. I'm going to my favorite AI Copilot. This is the official one, and then this is. You know what? I'm not going to sign in. I'm forced to sign in anyway, so let me get this fixed first. So you will end up after signing in with this. So partly we got to go through the process, but there's also an AI assistant where you can ask for help or requirement when you need to. You have to go through this. Wow, they literally step by step guide. To attend an event in the US, you most likely need a B1 visa. And there is a form, like say the DS thing. And then there's if your country is part of visa program, you can apply ESTA instead, invalid for 90 days. So it's basically if you're in that program and your country is participating in ESTA, you can apply for the 90 days non visa program, but to you need to actually have a photocopy or your printed invitation for call duty, and for that you need to uh, go through quite a few hoops. Non-refundable of USD $185. Keep the receipt for the interview. This is quite a few things they need. And then there's also like prepare document like a valid passport and the form that you need to print out or basically have a digital copy. And then invitation letter from event organizer like call duty. You need to go through this, and then you have to go through ESTA. So what is ESTA? ESTA stands for WMP, Weber, which is a short business event visit. That's the short list. purpose. But if you're going for like 6 months and you need to go through conference and your office is located in the United States, that is B1 visa. You will need that instead. And you have to be very worried about this. Apply early, interview wait time might take some time. So yeah, some I know some country like Papua New Guinea or places that you never want to go. Papua New Guinea have a different waiver program called visa payment. You gotta go through the visa payment and then you go through visit and event. But here's the thing about Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea visa program is not inclusive of security. So if you're willing want to go all the way to the United States for a valid reason, then there is a valid reason for call duty. But if you're inside the proper New Guinea, you need to go through the visa program, you need to go through the immigration. And I want to let you that Papua New Guinea is a state in Upper New Zealand or basically Australia, and the places is quite small, and they don't have an active police officer. No, nothing. Just straight up. If the place go riot, you're in trouble. That's how far Papua New Guinea is. Especially come to security, I seen pictures, I seen things, and I'm not trying to be a gimmick, but whatever they show on the documentary was 100% accurate on the filming of the Papua New Guinea. And top of that, they have a machete, they have their guns, they are like ready to protect each other as a village. That's how far immigration is in Papua New Guinea. They don't have a proper police officer, they don't have a proper place to file report, they don't have a military. So the only have advice is if you go to Papua New Guinea, you need to hire your own private security. As far as I can tell you, and there is only one airline that actually go to Papua New Guinea is that official airline is Papua New Guinea airline. Or part of the things that I saw is like things that is not valid. So yeah, I think quite a few things that you can check before going in. But this one for Call of Duty, you need to go through application. Like like I said, use the 90 days program if you are eligible. And then the second thing you gotta do is have the organizer send a letter to your mailbox or basically to your inbox and then print out and then get yourself invited down to the US. And I forgot to mention, partly I want to go to the US because of Call of Duty, but partly is the cost of the uh time travel, and partly is also comes with consequences where you go to the US. It's very expensive. It's nearly about 6K, and it will take you some time before like going into the US. But if you're going for a short visit, like going to your relative or event or wedding or Call of Duty event, you are eventually asking whether it's valid enough to go into the US with a visa or a letter of the organization that you're going to. And previously, before the BO7 event was explosive, people failed to read through the requirement and actually apply for proper visa, which is quite sad. But for visa program of $185, you need to be valid that you're working with a big agency or big company that can provide you some backup. But there is consequences where you need to realize some things are valid, some things are not valid. And if you're stopped by the ICE agent, you just have to give them a valid reason why you're going to the US, and you need to ask them, you need to tell them that this was invited and I got this organization with a letter of approval that I need to be attending this event. And when this event ends and which hotel you're going to, they're going to investigate you. Just let them be, and don't get yourself nervous. If you're nervous, it will tell them red flag and you're done. So yeah, I think that's as far as I can guide. But keep in mind, if event do does come like things like whatever you're having, and let's say US immigration don't allow you to enter with a permit, then the only thing you can do is contact Call of Duty, and in advance maybe Call of Duty can do a online free test or something, you know. And this is not the first time immigration actually stop somebody to come into the US for embassy cases. But there is case of FIFA World Cup as well, where people get detained and asked why in this USA, and and many things. And I would say USA is a good country, but for visit, for photo taking, for wedding photos, yeah, those are very good valid reason. But if you're not a valid reason and you want to go to the US to work, you have to find a immigration friendly company. And I guarantee you this is about 50-50. You'll get yourself into Uber driver or Uber delivery, that kind of stuff, which is quite frequent. But I seen documentaries where people actually can work in Walmart and other places, but those are through like people that actually can go through. Not 100%, but there is like 50-50 chance you can get yourself into a position in the US, then you're great. But if you're stuck in the limbo, there is things that I don't wanna hear, but there there is reason why people actually was forced to go back. But I'm not very 100% sure what's the valid reason the ICE agent will stop you if you have a valid letter of the event, and when is the date, and when is the date you're going, and when your date is departing. And I think Call of Duty would be great if they have like a person to contact, if they have like an office where we can ask for the letter. But sometimes Call of Duty don't do remote playtest anymore. Back in COVID-19 days, there was a online playtest where you can connect to a Call of Duty server that's privately intentionally built through COVID. But after 2 years or 3 years of COVID, people are starting to get sick of the Call of Duty server. That's why they are planning like a face to face gaming, but there is a reason certain things happens. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to target US or anything, but US is known to be a little bit heavy on the requirement. And I think this is a proper channel where you can talk how you can get into the US without getting caught. But those that want to immigrate to the US, there's another form that you need to fill up, and there is also like many date of court hearing. And 2 months ago, Singapore channel went to the US to visit immigration, like immigrant came from China wanted to go to US. They happen to they happen enough to get in, just that coming to the US may need a little bit of time. And there was worry there was worried about detaining. There was worry about people get arrested by ICE agent or whatsoever reason that ICE agent wanna come in, and they don't have the valid purpose of it. There's no need to. So now you know where to get your visa and how to apply for it. But for Call of Duty, please open a help desk, please open a helpline, and get yourself straight. I If you want to invite creator or content creator down to playtest in the US soil, you need to have a valid passport or a valid ID for them to verify. Otherwise, there is no choice to do the remote playtest again. Back to COVID-19 again, and it's like a lockdown time. That was the true horror of the video game century. So therefore, you're left with a few things, and my only gut choice of words to you is: if you don't want to go to the US, it's not your fault. But if you go to the US, please use some resource and valid reason, and do not do anything that is very, very stupid enough to get yourself captured by the ICE agent. If ICE agent do uh, question you or check your ID or valid ID of the nationality, you're not allowed to bring Mexican inside the country. That's one of the requirements. And two, Singapore is on the 90 days uh waiver program. So I am clear on that one. And uh I think that's all. But you guys can see the documentation. It was quite scary of people actually getting shot by ICE agents. And it's not just like a one time thing, it's about 4, 5, 6 people that were shot at one point, and and things just doesn't go as planned. So yeah, we'll see about Call of Duty. I mean, honestly, I buy Call of Duty for partially reason to not getting shot, but there is also a partially problem where you cannot get a proper visa to go into the US. But you're not the only one. There is multiple people facing this discrimination issue, and it's quite it's quite common. And I think a lot of things can happen. And there's also like Call of Duty can bring Activision can actually bring into Singapore. We have a proper stadium and we have a proper venue where you can use the esport places where we used to esport. And I think it's also a good idea that event is open minded, but there is still chances that they only applied to the US soil for the event. So whoever got invited by Call of Duty, good luck. But if you're not invited and you really want to catch up with the Call of Duty community, you can always go to the Call of Duty YouTube website, social media, and watch their live. I'm not saying everyone getting stopped by immigration, but sometimes immigration is not up to date. So that's all. As for this Call of Duty event, I am not attending because I have work and I valid that I only work at a certain days. But when it comes to things, I will not be able to guide because there is more people to actually be resourceful to you. I only give you the basic resource that what you need and what your visa need, and how that is really small. My small majority actually face the problem. So good luck, and I'm out. I be live a bit later tonight doing Assassin's Creed. I will be live around nine, and it's about to be 10. So I'm guessing I'll be live about 11 o'clock if I'm not wrong. And there is nothing wrong, then it will be fine. But if it's not, then I'll be live a bit later.